different savage. And you've been so many places, I guess it must be so. But still, I cannot see if the savage one is me. How can there be so much you do not know? You do not know. You think what you own, whatever land you land on, the earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people who look and think like you. But if you walk in the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew. You never knew. I'm like that, especially, you'll learn things that you never knew, you never knew. Very powerfully written song. Now, the song Pocahontas that you see stories about in Disney's version are not the way it was. Just so you have some clarity here. I'm not going to get into the story, but if you look it up on Google, you'll be shocked to hear the story. But there's a piece of it that I want to point out. And so there's Captain John Smith, and these colonizers come over to America, and they want to colonize the land. And their intention is to own the land and generate wealth. They're all about just having the land and more wealth. And actually, in the story, Captain John Smith is taken as a captive. And by the way, the colonizers are looking at the savages, as they call them, as an obstacle, perhaps in their way of having this land and more wealth. So in the real story, he's been taken captive. However, he gets along with Pocahontas, and that's not even really her name. She has a different name. That's actually her mother's name. Just tidbit, a little trivia for you. But Pocahontas and he started to talk, and they learned each other's respective languages, okay? Which I think is cool. So they were able to start communicating. Now, I am not going to get into the rest of the story because that's for you to look up if you're interested. But I want to point out how this song, Color of the Wind, is really about moving Captain John Smith past his limited perceptions of the people and of the land, and to see a layer that he wasn't able to see something from a higher view, a view of spirit, where the land has a name and a spirit and is a life and it's an energy. So he was shifting, he was being given an opportunity to shift his perception. And so that's the idea, is to be able to shift from our limited viewpoint of what we don't know that we don't know to something greater. So how many of you have ever experienced an obstacle or a block in your life's journey? I would think you might. Who has ever asked for guidance in life and felt like the universe wasn't hearing you? And have you been ever headed in a direction that you thought was absolutely the right and perfect direction for you, only to be stopped and blocked? Yes, everybody got a time. I mean, honestly, we all have had something in that realm because, hey, this is life. This is life, right? You think it's all going to be one way, and then, bam, it's not. Now, the question now becomes, what happens? What do you feel when you are blocked? The universe doesn't answer. You're heading one way and nothing's working out. What do you end up feeling, honestly? Come on. Frustrated, lack of faith. Devastated. Mad. Come on, bring it. Disappointed, right? Helpless. Confused. Boy, we got it. Now we got it. We're rolling now. So, yeah. And how do you react in that feeling? It's like, oh, forget it. I'm not going to be able to do something that I thought I was going to do. And what's the use? You might get into some despair. Now, for me, in my life, I think my whole life has been an obstacle after an obstacle after an obstacle. And, but what happens with those obstacles is really up to us and how we see them. So, as a minister, um, I would candidate. I thought it was time to move from my ministry in Tahoe to something else. It was time. I felt the calling. So I candidated. I sent my application, some talks, and whatnot, and references to Center for Spiritual Nashville or Unity San Diego. And I would read about them and go, this is it. This is my place. I am their perfect minister. Because we believe everything is in consciousness, and what you believe is going to come forth. So I would put all my consciousness into thanking the universe and knowing that this was my right and perfect place, and go there and be awesome and amazing. And they didn't pick me. How dare they? I mean, really, I'm awesome. I'm freaking great. And, I'm human. I came back home and I'm like, well, what happened here? Because I knew it was mine. Well, I guess it wasn't. So, why I'm talking about all of this is because we're in a book. Many of us have been studying the Adventures in Faith book that it's called The Universe Has Your Back, Transform Fear to Faith by Gabrielle Bernstein. And so we've been plodding along a couple chapters at a time. And two chapters, but the first one for today was obstacles are detours in the right direction. How many times have you felt like an obstacle was actually a detour in the right direction? Well, some of you have. Well, there you go. But do you always see that, And so I want you to take this in. Let's just have you at least say it. So I want you to repeat after me. Obstacles are detours in the right direction. Okay. So this is a new thought. You want to have a new thought so you can have a new experience. So the idea is, how do you go into having this experience of believing that it's in the right direction? I believe we need to feel our feelings and feel the letdown. But I don't want to set up my camp there, right? I want to keep on moving. When they say when you're going through hell, keep on going, right? You don't want to. When you're having a rough patch, I'm not going to sit here. I need to keep moving. So every obstacle is a detour in the right direction. And she says, just about this particular, that the universe, our job is to trust that whatever we've been guided toward, even if we don't feel it, is the direction we need. Even situations that appear to be obstacles are actually opportunities. I like that, obstacle to opportunities. Detours in the right direction. And to always trust the universe, direction of the universe, and know that you're being guided towards love. Now, I think that's easier said than done, just personally. However, it's a practice. Everything is a practice. And when you start to believe that an obstacle is really an opportunity, I like to go, yeah, it's an obstacle, but really, it's an opportunity. Then, what do I need to do to get that consciousness? And there's another O in the scenario. You know the word obstacle. We need to let go of the outcome. So the O of outcome, let go of the outcome. And you're going, okay, I can let go of the outcome. And what she says here is the key to trusting the universe's plan is to let go of all outcomes. When we get hung up about how something should turn out, then we disconnect from the flow of universal guidance. The energy behind a should be that way or it should have happened, is controlling and manipulative. And the universe doesn't align with that energy. It's when we let go of the outcome, we open up our perceptual worldview and allow ourselves to be led. Again, that sounds lovely, but in practical, I mean, letting go of the outcome of the election, I'm like, well, Spirit goes, what about that one? I'm like, well, that's going to take an act of goddess to let me let go of that. However, I'm also aware that there are things that are out of my realm. I cannot control things in the world. And it frustrates me because I'm a God being, and so are you. And how come I can't make a difference? And by the way, I don't usually rant, but I had a rant last week. I went to my counselor and I said, can I take the first 5 minutes and just do a big old rant about how ridiculous a lot of things are in the world? And it's okay to rant. I mean, I look at Jesus, the great way shower. He got ticked off. He threw tables. He called people names. He had his rants. So it's perfectly all right to have a rant. Now, the question is, you say, I'm going to do 5 minutes of really intense ranting, and then I'm going to move on. Because you don't want to get stuck in the rant, right? Because that's a lot of negative energy. But it's like a volcano. I got to let off some steam because it affects us. It's energy that needs to move in a healthy, constructive way. So letting go of outcomes. And you're going, all right, whatever. How do you do that? Well, there's things that you can say. And she has a prayer that she says, and it's in the book, and it's, thank you, universe, for helping me see the obstacles, first of all, as an opportunity. And I step back and let the universe lead. Now, 2 things I do in my personal life is that whenever I'm all set for this person is going to be my love of my life, you know, you get excited about something or someone, or this is going to be my right and perfect ministry, or this is something that is mine. But you always put in your prayer, this or something better. Let's say it together. This or something better. Because I might have a great idea that this is the best thing for me. But what if the universe has got something better? I don't want to limit the universe. So at the end of every prayer, this or something better. The second thing I do personally is I get excited about something, but I do a prayer of release. And my prayer is, Spirit, if this isn't for my highest and greatest good, please close the door. And then I had to add the word gently. Because I used that prayer, I thought I was getting interested and I might have a potential person in my life as a romantic partner. And then it was working, seemed to be working in the right direction. Then the door slammed. I was like, well, that wasn't very nice, so gently. If it's not for the highest and greatest good, please close the door gently, because I can get excited about something, but if it's not for my highest and greatest good or the highest and greatest good for all people, then please. And for those ministries that didn't choose me, that was a good thing, because I wouldn't be here. And this is my ideal. So, you know, everything that wasn't working out, no, that wasn't for the highest and greatest good of all. So to trust the universe, that is our mission. For me, it's all about trust. And some of you know my acronym for trust that Spirit downloaded, uploaded. To rely upon Spirit totally. That, if we all lived with that level of trust to rely upon Spirit totally, do you know what your life would be like? Would it be sweet? Would you be all stressed out? Or you just go, the universe has got this. The universe is handling everything that I can't handle. And my job is to trust the invisible, and it takes time. And it's not like you can just flip a switch, and if you can, good for you, to go from the basement of trust to the penthouse. For me, it's levels. And I have grown to the level of trust that I am today. And I would imagine that tomorrow I could continue growing my trust. And part of it is by what I put in here. One of my affirmations is God is my source in who I am trusting. God is my source in whom I do trust. Let's say that together. God is my source in who I am trusting. God is my source in whom I do trust. I'm giving you little tools. You can use them or not, but this is what has helped me gain and grow in my trusting. So, for those of you who are taking this, I want to go into, well, let me see. Hang on a second. I'm just going to pause. I'm trusting in the universe right now, just demonstrating. Okay, so I'm going to invite us all to close our eyes, take a breath. I would invite you to identify an area that you would like to control. Seriously. Something that you are controlling or would like to control. Honor whatever comes to mind, because we all want to have some say of control. But recognize that thing that we want to control, to have this greater outcome, may not be what we think it is. So in your mind's eye, I'm going to invite you to see a golden basket in front of you. And it's glowing. And you know this is where you need to put this control. So see yourself placing the control and the outcome into this glowing basket. Because we are releasing control to the universe. So take a deep breath and honor your willingness to let this go. And now see a beautiful divine being step in front of you. And in your mind's eye, with your eyes closed, you look into the eyes of this divine being. And they assure you, just with their eyes, that it's safe and it is good to let this go. The universe has it. And so you shake your head up and down, yes, and they pick up the basket, and they drift off up into the air and fade out of sight. And you sit and you feel the relaxation of having released. And just letting that be, we let go in gratitude. And so it is. So just notice what it's like to let go of outcome. Now, for those of you who are reading this book and doing the adventure in faith work, you may have noticed that the next chapter that we are looking at is entitled "Certainty Clears the Path for What You Desire." And I was really thrown when I read this line, because I just realized that I needed to let go of outcomes. Because on page 99, she writes this sentence: "Certainty of outcome is the secret ingredient." And I'm like, certainty of outcome? I was supposed to let the outcome go. What are you talking about, right? I'm like, wait a minute, you are not giving me the same thing here. I'm letting go of outcome, but you're telling me certainty of outcome? And I was like, wait a minute, what is off here? When I needed to continue to read, because she was not talking about the outcome. She was talking about, you have certainty in the love of the universe. You don't have certainty in the quote outcome. And I don't know why she put it in there that way, but she really talks about my certainty is knowing that the universe has got this. The universe is bigger than any problem, any obstacle. The universe is bigger than any situation, circumstance, condition. It's bigger than our fears. That's good news. The universe, I'm more certain about that whatever's going to happen in our world, the universe is bigger than that. And I'm like, you better be bigger than that, because I don't know if I can handle what's going on in some areas of our world. But what's my choice? To give up and go, it's all going, no. That is not what a spiritual warrior does. A spiritual warrior says, no, I can't see it, but I'm going to see it in my mind, because there is a power greater than us, and it is seeking to have its way by means of us. We are its hands, its voice, its expression of love on earth. When we look at God in whatever form that we might be taught, God, why aren't you doing something? And Spirit's going, well, you are the God being. You're the one to do something. You are my expression on earth. I need you to be my heart, my hands, my voice. I am the love, and you are the expression. And if there's problems on your earth, it's because there's some people that don't know the truth of themselves. We are supposed to know the truth for each other. When you can't see the divine in another person or another situation, and how can you? Well, it's called pretend. What if you pretend or realize that everyone and everything is the divine, beyond the appearance? Look beyond the appearance, because there's something deeper. And when we can see something beyond the appearance, we actually can create a shift. And it's not easy work, but you signed up for it, because you wouldn't be sitting here or in the cyber sanctuary. So she's talking about getting into this mindset of trust. So she says, here's the 3 steps. The first one you want to do is get ready. And so I'm going to read a couple questions and ask you if you are ready for this experience of trust. First of all, are you ready to detach from the narratives, the fears, and the limitations of the world? If so, say yes. Yes. That's good. Anybody know? Are you ready to put your greatest visions above the littleness of your fear? Yes. Are you ready to let go of those past stories, experiences, and circumstances that led you into doubt? Yes. And now I just want you to think, what would your life be like if you lived with faith and certainty that everything was going to be all right? Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is going to be all right. So I'm just going to say, when you don't feel it, start singing that song. I want you to sing it, because it needs to be brought back, because we can go into the fear, doubt, and worry. It's really easy in our world. But singing that song could actually bring you back, right? So that is one of your assignments. And then you want to continue to think, and you want to feel what you envision your life and your world to look like. She has a meditation in here, and I'm not going to do that meditation. If you don't have the book, then get the book, and you can do the meditation on your own. But it's her key is, when you envision something, it's not the thing that you want. It's the feeling you would have if you had it. That is the huge difference. Whatever your desire is, recognize what you desire and what's the feeling you would have if you had it. That is, she says the word feel over and over and over. Be in the feeling. Because the goal is to feel the feeling when you don't even have the outer thing that you think is going to give it to you. Because this is an inside-out world. It's not the thing out there that's going to bring me peace. It's not the thing out there that's going to bring me joy or happiness. It's in me. If I'm not in that, I want to be happy and peaceful and joyful without the thing. Then guess what? How the universe works, then it shows up. Because whatever I'm vibrating at, feeling energy-wise, will be reflected to me. But we are not trained in that, so that's what we teach is the retraining. We need to get into the feeling of what you would love. When I ask somebody what they want for their prayer revealment, they tell me, and then I'm like, what would you feel if you had that? Because that is the key. And that's what she's talking about, is get into that key. Once you get into that feeling, she talks about having a dialogue with the universe. How many of you write letters to Spirit, the universe? And do you have the universe write you back? Okay, that's where we're going. Dialogue with the universe. For those of you who are taking this in the Soul Circle, I give some instructions that you'll be doing in your homework about how to do that. And you're all invited to go to the Still Small Voice workshop that I will be doing, because I will give you a specific. You will actually do a writing to the universe and have it write back to you during this workshop. And I will give you some specific words and clues of how to go about this. It's super powerful when you actually listen to the universe. You can write to the universe, but what if you listened? What does the universe want to say to you? It opens the door in ways that you might not believe. So, in closing, she says, living with certainty is a lot of fun. And that's not certainty in outcome, it's certainty that everything's going to be all right. All right? And she talks about, again, being ready, creatively visualizing, and I like feelizing what it feels like, and then having the conversation and continually, not just once, but throughout the day. She talks about how she would see herself walking hand in hand with her beloved, holding hands with her beloved, who hadn't shown up yet, but she was choosing to use in her mind. And I talked to my sweetheart. I wish she would show up embodied, but, maybe she's detoured. It's okay, because I'm already acting as if it was so. It's not an easy, but it is a practice. Because if we feel deflated and doubtful, that's the vibration we're going to put out there. Now, for those of you who may or may not believe that we are guided, last night, reading this book, there was this one paragraph with 2 sentences. I had no idea it was here until I was looking at the book, and I was like, are you kidding me? So you heard the first song, Colors of the Wind, and you're going to hear the next song, and these 2 sentences actually use part of the words of both of these songs. I was like, are you serious? And Spirit's going, yeah. So she says, over time, your visions will easily manifest into your reality, and you'll truly know what it means to paint the colors of the wind. She doesn't say that, but to paint the portrait of your life. And I'm like, you use the word paint. We're talking painting something that is bigger than us. So that is one line in the same paragraph. The next one is, you'll see clearly how what you create is a direct reflection of your certainty and faith in the universe. So let us open up to painting the colors of the wind, and let us see clearly now and how we can be living the best life ever, and so is our world. And trust that the universe really does have our backs, and so it is.